But the thing about some of the Malaysian movies that have come up, I think Mat Kila was one of them. And then there was another one previously, Hikayat Maha Merawangsa or something like that. I can't remember the name. And there was a critique that perhaps this is something, movies that are trying to alter history, where, you know, especially removing the Hindu-Buddhist influences of the past and all that. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of that. A lot of that happens, right?
Yeah.
But not just in film. Film is also one casualty of that. History, our history books, you know, also suffer from that. Our education system is, you know, pockmarked with what's been removed. And I remember, you know, many years ago in the Bujang Valley, for example, the excavations, they went very slowly for a long time because I think they were nervous about what they were going to or have to discuss. And whereas in Indonesia, they're very proud of their Hindu-Buddhist past. They're firmly Muslim, but they have no issue about the fact that once upon a time, you know, they were Hindu-Buddhist. And you know, and we're interesting country geographically. We're located at a crossroads, and so many people have come and conquered this country. Have been conquered by practically everybody. You know, so is it surprising then that there's been many religions here, and why there continues to be so many religions here as well?
Know, interesting that you bring up that point, because I went to Yogyakarta a few years ago, and I went to watch the Ramayana play at the Prambanan temple. And what surprised me the most was that while I was watching it, I saw this big group of Muslim kids. You know, they looked like they were from the school. They were coming all dressed up the same with tudung, sitting and watching this Hindu play. And I'm sitting there going, this would, I'm shocked, right? Because in Malaysia, that would not happen.
Oh, that would though, because the Mahabharata and the Ramayana forms the core stories of the Wayang Kulit. So this is definitely something which would be done as part of the repertoire.
No, I understand, but this is if this is exactly a Ramayana play taking place at against a backdrop of a very famous Hindu temple.
Yes.
So on the way back, I was talking to the driver and I was telling him, you know what, if this happened in Malaysia, where there was a Hindu play going on and a bunch of kids came up, there is a possibility that tomorrow there's going to be news outlets.
No, because the Ramayana in Malaysia is not considered a Hindu play. So the Malaysian Ramayana, the Malay version, is it's the same basic story, but they're called Siti Dewi. I mean, even the names have changed. But even the story, in fact, the Malaysian Ramayana is very fascinating because it's extremely complex and it's extremely, in parts, erotic. And it's quite naughty as well. As my good friend Edin Koo, who, you know, he's somebody who studies this very deeply. But we have a difficult relationship with it. But it was something that people knew for many, many centuries, right? Because it was it's part of Malay culture too.
It is,
right?
It is, of course.
And in fact, I went to a talk just a few days ago that Edin Koo gave at a gallery, Ilham Gallery, and he asked us, and his talk was about ritual, and he said, "What is the Malay word now for ritual?" So this is the question I would ask you. What's the Malay word for ritual?
Upacara?
No.
I don't know.
Anybody know? So he asked this question, and we all were also upacara. Somebody said sembayang. Nowadays, the actual Malay word for ritual is ritual, right? Because we don't want to use the actual original Malay word,
which is
puja.
Oh, okay. Ritual. Okay.
Because it has this connotation.
Yeah, it's a very Hindu-Buddhist word. Yeah.
But at the same time, what is the problem with it? Because it is, you know. But again, it's just part of our history.
Yeah,
and and linguistically, it's like the fact that nobody wants to say sembayang anymore. Actually, people want to say solat, right?
Okay.
Rather than
sembayang.
because people think, but it's just part of your linguistic culture.
So then why do you think? Because even you mentioned it, right? Because even this guy who was driving, he told me his reply to me was very simple. He said, unlike you Malaysian, we Indonesian understand the difference between religion and culture and history.
Yes.
And I even saw a T-shirt which I bought of Sukarno, you know, the guy who actually opened this whole play. And he also said, being a Muslim, but he said that, you know, regardless of whatever religion he is, this is part of the country's history.
Yeah.
So, and even now in Indonesia, you see Muslims walking around with Sanskrit names. It's part of their life.
Yeah.
Why is it they can have a love affair, they have accepted, they appreciate their history, whereas we continuously question it, continuously shy away from it, or have a very weird relationship with it?
Well, that's a very big question. The why, I think, is a very big question, and it could be partly that the Indonesians are completely secure in their religion because it's a very big country again, right? And again, it's who is insecure here. I don't think it's the ordinary person. I think it's politics, because we do have a system of divide and rule in politics. So then religion is pitted against, people are pitted against each other in terms of, so I saw this good cartoon recently where you had a king and a prime minister looking out at the people assembled below them, and you could see the people are kind of beginning to fight each other, and the king says to the prime minister, or the prime minister says to the king, I managed to turn their revolutionary war into a culture war. Right? Because people want to rebel against things like unfairness, injustice. Why are the rich so rich? Why don't we have money to buy our nasi? So that then there's people feel revolutionary, like this is wrong, this is unjust, right? But the power elite can't have that. So then they distract them with culture wars. Oh, you see how different you are from each other. They're trying to take your money. They're trying to steal your soul. They're trying to steal your religion. They're trying to demean you, demean your religion. So then you see, we all get distracted with each other, fighting unnecessary wars with each other that have been, I think, created artificially. So I think for me, one of the reasons why we don't have this is because it got removed from us. And I remember many years ago, I was doing a project, a kind of Asian collaboration with Indonesians, Thai, Filipinos, Japanese, and Malaysians. And in the Malaysian side, there was myself. There was a friend of mine called Lo Kotman, who's Chinese and runs a Chinese theatre company. And then there was my other friend, Namron, who is Malay, runs a Malay theatre company. He's from Perlis. And during one of the projects that we were doing, I was having this discussion with two of the Indonesians and a Thai person, because we were trying to construct a scene. And we were like, oh, let's take this episode from the Mahabharata when Bhima jumps into the ocean. And they were like, oh, yeah, the Dewa Ruchi story, because that's what it's called in Indonesian. And so, but we are all discussing it. We all know the stories, the Thai, me, and the Indonesians. And he said to us, how come you all know this? And they were very shocked. And they said to him, how come you don't know it? Because for them, it's just part of their culture. And then actually later when we were discussing it, he actually said, I feel so angry. He said, who took this away from me? Who took away actually what is part of my culture that makes me able to have this kind of discussion with other people from Southeast Asia? But somebody took it away from him. Somebody took it away from the school curriculum. Somebody took it away from the actual culture, so that you cannot tell some of these stories anymore the way that they used to be told. But at the same time, they are still being told. The organization Pusaka, which is the organization that Edin Khoo founded, the person who gave the talk about ritual. I mean, they are trying to, they document the traditional arts in Malaysia. It's still very much in existence. You can't change it. You can't change it, overnight. It's very much embedded in people's psyche. But you have to, now we have to work at it. We have to work at it.
Definitely.
Yeah.